Welcome to Reddit Reader. What is a loophole that you found and exploited the hell out of? Was on a cruise ship a few years ago that had a pay-per-minute internet policy. You'd buy like 200 minutes of Wi-Fi access for $100 or whatever crazy price it was. They had a little portal that you went to start and stop the timer and tell you how much time was remaining. I quickly realized that the timer counted by whole minutes. That is, if I started at 12:00:01 and stopped it at 12:00:58, then it counted as 0 minutes of internet use. For the entire cruise, I took advantage of this. Start the timer, fire up your internet apps like Facebook and Instagram, and let your timeline and emails download, or launch a website and let it load. Stop the timer. Browse your feed, photos, read your website and emails offline, compose posts and replies, etc. Start the timer again to send upload, stop it again within a minute. I milked those 200 minutes for an entire 3-week cruise and still had 45 minutes left over at the end. Right out of college, I worked a job that had a 100% match to any retirement contributions. I was young, lived rent-free with my parents, had no student debt, and could grab OT nearly every week. After some budgeting, I figured I could throw 80% of my paycheck into retirement. I did so for 9 months, until my supervisor called me into the office to sign a policy change that limited retirement contributions to 50%. I'd stashed away nearly $35,000 on about a $32,000 annual pay. I had no life for about a year, but damn if it didn't jumpstart my retirement. Free rent is the real loophole here. MoviePass was $10 a month, and you could use it to get one movie ticket a day. I lived next door to a Regal, and I went every day because Regal would give their reward points for every ticket purchased. They didn't care that MoviePass was paying for the tickets and then giving them to me as part of my subscription. In 8 months, I spent $80 on the subscription and saw everything that came out, and I racked up enough Regal points for about 50 free popcorns or drinks. MoviePass went out of business, but I still had all the Regal rewards. In college, there was a parking garage that charged around $2 per hour. I couldn't get a parking pass, but learned the heated garage that charged $2 per hour had a $20 fee for a lost ticket. I would park my car in there for a few weeks at a time, and when I had to leave, would lose my ticket and be forced to pay the $20 lost ticket fee. A parking pass was around $500 to park outside, and I ended up paying around $300 in lost ticket fees to park in the heated garage. Reminds me of an old joke. A man walks into a bank in New York City and asks for the loan officer. The man says he's going to Europe on business for 2 weeks and needs to borrow $5,000. The loan officer says the bank will need some kind of security for such a loan, so the man hands over the keys and documents of a new Bentley Continental parked on the street in front of the bank. Everything checks out and the bank agrees to accept the car as collateral for the loan. An employee drives the Bentley into the bank's underground garage and parks it there. 2 weeks later, the man returns and repays the $5,000 plus interest, which is $15.41. The loan officer says, "We are very happy to have had your business and this transaction has worked out very nicely, but we are a little puzzled. While you were away, we checked you out and found that you are a rich man. You have a good-sized house in upstate New York, a sizable equity portfolio, and no debt at all. We are curious as to why you would want to borrow $5,000. The man replied, "Where else in New York City can I park my car for 2 weeks for $15? We had a situation at my old job, a huge international company where we'd work shifts, either 8, 10, or 12 hours. Anything after 8 hours was overtime. Sometimes we were scheduled for the next shift quite soon after the last one had ended. For example, 5 a.m. to noon, and then 7 p.m. to midnight. Someone discovered if there were less than 8 hours between shifts in a 24-hour period, anything after 8 hours total was paid the overtime rate. We did it for ages, and then in the context of some team chat, some twat asked one of the managers whether the above scheduling would still be feasible. Turned out that management hadn't even noticed and stopped it immediately. And back to minimum wage we went. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe so you do not miss our next upload.